welcome back to another video with SirLucien, and we're back into MechWarrior Online, learning a little bit about a battle mech from the Battletech universe, which I'm a huge fan of, the tabletop game, ever since I was a teenager. And today I'm going to go ahead and bring you the Grasshopper, a heavy 70-ton mech. We're going to go ahead and take a look at it. And we're going to learn a little bit of history on it too, from the Battletech perspective, and then we'll see it in-game and how it's represented in MechWarrior Online. So as you can see, let's jump into a 70-ton heavy mech. So that's on the high side of heavy mechs as far as the heavy class before you jump into Assault. Assault is usually that 80 is the start of the Assault. Sometimes I've heard it referred to as the light Assaults, but this is a heavy class. So if we look in the Mech Lab, which we like to go to first, we can see that we're going to be running quite a bit of a laser platform here. So we've got medium laser on my right arm, medium laser on my right torso. We have a center-mounted LRM-5 coming right off the head, basically. We have a large laser center-mounted, which is nice. We have a medium laser left torso, medium laser left arm. And we do have jump jets on a heavy mech, which you don't see too often, but we do have it here. Regular standard engine is going to go ahead and run us. And the idea is, it's supposed to be a pretty mobile mech. Its speed is 64.8 inside MechWarrior Online, so we'll go ahead and see that. And other thing I'm going to do here, which I've neglected to do in many of my videos, is I'm going to check my weapons groups before I jump in. So currently it's running my medium lasers on 1, 2, and 3. I like to switch that for me. This is how I like to run I like my sniping long-range weapons on my number 1. I like my close-in range number 2, and I like to put missiles on number 3. That's just me. It's my own little mileage there. So we have that, and if you were going to go ahead and buy this, now it was just on sale. The sale just got over. I probably should have did the video a little earlier so you guys could have bought it on sale if you wanted to. But if you wanted to pick this one up, I just wanted to show you a little bit about this variant here. So we'll go into the heavy mechs here, and as you can see, the variant we're looking at today is the GHR-5H. And it does have 7 energy hardpoints, 1 missile hardpoint, and 1 AMS hardpoint. So if you did want to do some customizing later on, you could turn this into a pretty high-end laser platform. So you just have to manipulate some of that tonnage to get your ability to get that in there, and really make a decision on if it's going to be long range or if it's going to be a short range brawler, that type of thing. All right, so just keep that in mind. As you can see, 5 million C-bills. Typically, which isn't too bad for a heavy mech. It's a pretty tall mech too, from what I've noticed. Even though it's a heavy, it stands pretty tall. Unique shape, unique design. Let's go ahead and jump into quick play and see how this works. And while we're doing that, we'll go ahead and learn a little bit about the history of the Grasshopper. So quite a few manufacturers make the Grasshopper. We have the Lantern Corporation, the Jalistar Aerospace, Arc Royal Mechworks, and the Lexatex Industries have all manufactured this, and the production year was 2780. Again, it was a 70-ton mech. So, originally intended as a stealthy hunter-killer of light and medium mechs for the SLDF, the Grasshopper entered service in 2780 after hostilities had already ceased in the American Civil War. Problems integrating the original stealth systems with the chassis meant the Grasshopper missed the climactic end to the conflict, and these systems were ultimately removed from the final design. The untested and unorthodox mech was distributed primarily to the regular army rather than the more prestigious royal units, and within 4 years it could be found in most Star League regiments. Thus, as the League dissolved, with the chaos of Operation Exodus and the defection of many SLDF units to the successor states, examples of the Grasshopper found their way into various house armies one way or another. With great mobility and a predominantly short-ranged, energy-based weaponry, the Grasshopper proved itself during the First Succession War. We'll go ahead and ready up. The mech's ground speed at 64.8 kilometers per hour, which we saw just a moment ago in the mech lab, so it kind of matches. That's not always true in MechWarrior Online, but in this case it is. Was augmented by 4 Leviathan lifter jump jets, 1 pair in each leg, giving it a jumping capability of 120 meters. Revolutionary for its time, the appearance of a heavy mech with the mobility of a lighter design caused a change in tactics. The Grasshopper became known for using surprise and speed to appear suddenly in the midst of a tightly packed lance in devastating situation, should the enemy lack short-range weapons themselves. The use of the 22 heat sinks, that's a lot of heat sinks, also gave it superior heat dissipation rates compared to other heavy mechs, while its low dependency on ammunition allowed the Grasshopper to operate away from established supply lines for extended periods of time. Though it could be outgunned by other mechs of a similar tonnage, the combinations of its mobility and its 13 tons of standard armor allowed the Grasshopper to at least inflict significant damage before being forced to withdraw. Finally, mounting its primary weapon in its center torso meant the Grasshopper remained combat capable during the suffering crippling damage and caused by losing both arms. So we'll just go ahead and pause it there and join our team. So here we're in a conquest map. We've got a pretty good torso rate right off the start with nothing put in it at all. That's nice. We're going to follow our guys in. We've got Orion 2C here, Jaeger Mech, and Timberwolf. We've got it at 64.8 kilometers per hour, as you can see, so that matches the lore. Now, as a heavy mech, we've talked about this before. A lot of times you can be a heavy support. You can help on pushes. Typically, you can take a little bit more damage, but you still have to be careful. You can't take the brunt of a main assault. You can probably go toe-to-toe with a single mech, and it'll come down to pilot and who aims better probably in that scenario. But if you have 2 or 3 mechs shooting at you at the same time, you're going to go down pretty quick. All right, so we do have some LRMs. Not a big load of them. It must just be about a ton of load. Well, it's only an LRM 5, so it's basically for poking. So we're going to use it to poke. Help our guy out here.
New target acquired.
Just get some of these guys to back off is all we're trying to do. I'm not trying to get in a full engagement. I can see a guy being fought by another Lance over in E3. Oh, shoot.
New target acquired.
Arctic Cheetah's messing with this guy. He probably needs some help. Let's see if we can get over to help him out a little. Oh, don't get in that guy's way. Always watch friendly fire. I might take some shots here. This is, yeah, see. I want to move my arm, hopefully, into position so it takes some of that brunt. Okay, good. This is where I want to be better. Got a good fire team happening over here.
Acquired.
Atlas, just extreme range. We can send some fire that way. They keep them locked up anyways.
New target acquired.
King Crab. So typically I'm just starting out at range. I find I do a little bit better that way instead of just charging in. We've got 4 of the objectives, which is good. There's that Atlas again. Keep them lit up, guys. Keep them lit up. Oh, he's got a good AMS. It shot all my missiles down. Yeah, AMS is really good against LRM 5s. 10s, 15s, and 20s will get in, so there's probably a... See how that one's getting in? It's still doing pretty good. Definitely a battle happening over that way. I'm going to head that way.
New target acquired.
That AMS does have limited ammo, so eventually, hopefully, he'll run out.
Target destroyed.
Oh, I got the killing blow on that Atlas. Crazy.
Target acquired.
You don't expect that from your LRM 5s too often. That was a kill steal. Sorry to my team.
New target acquired.
Somebody else clearly did more damage than I did.
New target acquired.
Try to get a few alpha strikes in there. Heat dissipation's pretty good. I don't think it has the 22 heat sinks that it was talking about in Battletech. I'll have to check that. We can definitely put some damage on the guy. There we go.
Destroyed. New target acquired.
That's a good little hit there as far as a little alpha strike. See, it's definitely whittling things down off that guy. Feels like a good team I got this time around. You never know what you're going to get in a match. They're going to cap. Ypsilon's being capped. I'm going to look around for some other people. So there you go. I mean, Heavy Mech is probably one of the most versatile mechs because you have enough tonnage to really build anything you want. Things from like snipers to brawlers. You can make them fast and light if you want by pulling off some of that armor, boosting up the engine power, but that makes you more kind of like a glass cannon, but you can get some really good speed. You can get a lot of weapon systems on board. They're a very, very versatile mech. A lot of people like them. Ooh, 41. Wow, I must have hit somebody I didn't see there. Average game, only about 100 damage, not too good. That's okay. Worked with the team. Let's jump back out. We'll jump into another mission here, and we'll learn a little bit more about the history. So let that go ahead and finish up. All right, and we were talking about so I'll just kind of repeat that part. Though it could be outgunned by other mechs of similar tonnage, we'll quick play that again. The combination of its mobility and 13 tons of standard armor allowed Grasshopper to at least inflict significant damage before being forced to withdraw. Finally, mounting its primary weapon in the center torso meant the Grasshopper remained combat capable despite suffering crippling damage, including losing both arms, leading many to classify it as a zombie mech. And early on, that was a big tactic. I remember in the Founders days with the Centurions, because it had an all center mounted weapons. It used both arms as shield and even those torsos as shields, and you basically had a zombie mech that would run around forever, still putting out damage even though it had lost most of its limbs. So this one also can be a zombie mech. Besides hunting down lighter machines to clear the way for heavier, less mobile mechs, the Grasshopper's mobility and endurance meant it often spearheaded assaults to storm fortifications, led flanking attacks to hit the enemy from the rear, and served as a backup brawler for companies of light and medium mechs. Its ability to operate independently made it an excellent choice as a raider and guerrilla fighter, an attribute also prized by mercenary units in need of self-reliant mechs. While popular, the Grasshopper was also an uncommon sight during the Succession Wars. Yeah, it was a mech I hadn't even really had heard of or used in Battle Mech. So when I saw it here, or in Battletech, when I saw it here in MechWarrior, it was an interesting mech choice that I hadn't even really played around with. So this is my first kind of use of using the Grasshopper. So it was a uncommon sight during the Succession Wars, causing many commanders to mistakenly treat it as just another heavy mech. By the time they realized their mistake, it was too late. Though following through Comstar's publication of Technical Readout 3025, military leaders became more familiar with the mech. In the midst of the Second Succession War, the Lantern Corporation's factory on Bryant was destroyed in 2843, a result of worsening global storms and damage inflicted during the conflict, causing production of the mech to cease. However, the Grasshopper was usually prioritized over other mechs, even a unit commander's own, when it came to repair and rebuild after a battle. As such, most of the original production run was still in active duty even after centuries of use. Lantern Corporation would eventually introduce a new variant in 3049, the GHR-5J, which upgraded many of its original systems with superior lost tech designs. The original model was so popular, however, that it would continue to outnumber the 5J in decades to come by a ratio of 3 to 1. And though when the Draconis Combine introduced their own C3 variant, that trend began to reverse. Further variants were introduced in the years following, and the Grasshopper participated in many conflicts, including both sides of the jihad. Yeah, I like going this way when it sets me here. So, long-range map. Keep in mind your medium weapons are kind of waist-mounted, but this is a tall mech, so you are able to get up over the hills pretty easy. So just keep that in mind when you're popping up and trying to do your strikes. And really, to me, the LRM-5 on this build is more about covering fire, suppressing fire, than it is I'm going to damage, I'm going to kill somebody. The idea is that when somebody sees that there's missiles being fired at them, they have no idea how many or what type or what's about to happen. What it does is it's a shock value of, I've got missiles incoming, and they just assume the worst. So you're using your LRM-5 really as a means to suppress them or keep them in check so that they can't just, stand out in the open without taking some damage. If they see it's only an LRM-5, some of those guys will probably just sit there and take it. But a lot of them, they don't even wait to see what's about to hit them. They go back into their hiding. So it's a good kind of poking weapon to basically use as a suppression weapon. Your main damage is obviously going to come from your large laser sniping and then a strike of large laser, medium laser at the same time. So we've got somebody over on the side here, Timberwolf. Okay. Out of range though. Large laser doesn't quite reach out as far. I mean, I wouldn't mind if this had been an ER laser. Something to keep in mind if you want to think about... okay, so there's a big group over here. So we're going to poke. We're going to get out of the way here because that feels like a main push. And we want our team, who is not doing anything, to realize there's a heavy lance coming. Get that arm in the way. Oh, I'm stuck on something. There we go. My team needs to know E7. Let's type that into them. All right. And I want to be able to roll back into my lines here, so I don't want to get caught out. I think we're gonna, because my team's not really paying too much attention. So one thing you can do here is I could either kind of sacrifice myself to try to help out. The other thing you can do is if they're pushing hard through the left, this counterclockwise push, one way to get out of a counterclockwise push is to push harder the other way. So the back end of their push is trying to catch up with the front end of your push. Makes more sense if you're actually doing it. But right now, with the way the guys, see how we have a large group in F5? So the idea is our E6, E5 guys should be pushing to meet up with the E5. So that way, this push group here doesn't catch us out. So I'm going to move to that area. Again, I'm going to move those arms because if I lose a laser, that's okay. I'm still combat effective. And I'm going to try to catch up with this part of the push instead of trying to stall that E7 line. So just a few tactics. Again, I'm not the best mech pilot there is. There we go. That's a nice strike. A 4 medium laser, large laser strike is pretty good. Now here we got some guys coming. He's facing the other way. Am I getting hit? Now we're surrounded and we're in the bowl. That's never good. We need to fight out of the bowl. Yeah, see, there's that group that was pushing hard. We're just going to poke at them, though. There's another one of them. In a bad spot. And I'm being hit from all over. Yep, you don't want to fight in the bowl. Can we work back around? Nope. What I want to do is get on this edge. I think they've got us. Oh yeah, look at all these guys. Two to 7. That's not going to go well. I think I'm stuck on something, or is there a person? Oh no, stuck on the rocks. All right, a little bit more damage that time. So got a few more of those. I'm calling it an alpha strike, even though I'm not firing the missiles. Alpha strike is typically all weapon systems fired. But in this case, I'm saying the alpha strike is the 4 mediums and the large. So let's just take a look at that real quick. We'll jump out of this. Looks like they've got us pretty good, 3 to 11. So their push was better than our push, and that sometimes happens. So let's take a look at what that strike looks like. As you can see, I'm going to go back into Mech Lab here a second. And with a medium laser, you're typically getting... Oh, no. I don't want to take it off. Put that back. There we go. What I want you to do is show me the... There you go. So a medium laser is a 5 damage, 4 heat weapon. And it's really only reaching out 540 meters, but it's doing most of its damage in the 270 and under, so you got to keep that in mind. So you're getting, with 4 of those, about 20 points, and then you're going to get off of your large laser, as we can see here, we're going to get another 9 points. So we're getting about 29 points of damage on that strike, which isn't bad. I mean, that's a couple of those in the front of somebody is going to really burn some armor away. That's going to hurt light mechs and medium mechs pretty quickly. It's going to start tearing through medium or heavy mechs, and then it's even an assault mech has to respect you. They can't just ignore you sending a 30-point shot at them over and over and over. So that is a look at the variants. Let's go ahead and go with one more. Some of those matches have been pretty short, so let's go back to home here. Jump in one more. We'll get a little bit more information. All right. So we were talking about the GHR-5H, which was introduced in 3049 with some lost tech. Yep, and the Grasshopper participated in many conflicts. So the weapons. The Grasshopper carries as its primary weapon a Diplin HD large laser in its center torso. Oh, I went back into the match. I didn't mean to do that. What is this guy? A spider. And a black widow who can't see where the spider is, I guess. Let's quit that match. We'll let that run out and we'll just learn a little bit more about our mech here. Supplementing the large laser at close range are 4 Diplon 5 or M3 medium lasers, one on either side of the center torso and one in each arm. allowing the Grasshopper to return fire from any angle with just a torso twist. The large laser's firepower is augmented at long range by a Conan S LRM-5 launcher mounted in the head and fed by 1 ton of ammo. So it was 1 ton that we saw there. Too small to be a potent weapon in its own right, most Grasshopper pilots simply use the launcher to soften up a target before they can bring their laser weapons to bear, and on extended campaigns will forego replenishing their ammo. This not only lets other mechs make better use of diminishing missile stockpiles, but also removes the potential of an internal ammunition explosion. So there are definitely some other variants that are out there that you can buy. As you saw when we went in the shop, there's 4 variants currently of the Grasshopper that you can take a look at. This has been a look at this variant. There's been some custom variants that are out there. A famous one would be the GHR-5H was known as the Gravedigger, and that was piloted by Major Aaron Pollier during the resistance of the Word of Blake occupation of New Avalon. That variant has a captured Curatin 7K prototype, which had undergone testing and modification at the NAIS. The C3 slave module and ER medium lasers were removed, allowing a pair of medium pulse lasers to be mounted in the center torso, while the Guardian ECM had been moved to the left torso. So this was a mech that was meant to have Guardian ECM, although this variant that I've showed you does not. They still have not let us join the... I don't know what's going on in that mission. There was also a custom variant called Reynolds, which was a customized Grasshopper used by the 3rd Davian Guards, Hopman Reynolds Allen, when he commanded the Allen's Animals raiding camp company during the Operation Bird Dog. So there's another one there. There's a Jihad-era experimental prototype developed at Ark Royal, which was called the GHR-76. So that has been a look. Looks like we're not going to get another mission, so we're going to go ahead and leave it there. It has been another look at the Grasshopper Heavy Mech 70-ton GHR-5H variant stock as you buy it out of the store. No skills, no piloting anything. You saw my first couple of matches. Couple of things to keep in mind. It feels mobile. It feels like a higher platform, so you're able to shoot over obstacles better than most mechs. Even though the weapons are mounted in the midriff area, your midriff is higher than a lot of the other mechs that are out there. You have a head-mounted an LRM-5, and you have plenty of opportunity to take this variant and maybe change it into something that you would like. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you hit subscribe. I hope you hit like. I hope you've been watching all the other Battletech and MechWarrior videos I have been putting out. I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for joining. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.